This is Heliox, where evidence meets empathy. Independent, moderated, timely, deep, gentle, clinical, global, and community conversations about things that matter. Breathe easy. We go deep and lightly surface the big ideas.
We'd like to acknowledge the amazing creativity and tenacity of our show's producers, Michelle Brucker and Scott Bleakley. Your thoughtful, topical, timely research and gentle handling of sensitive topics has made the fabric of our show much more than the sum of the individual episodes.
Thank you. We in turn would like to give a shout out to the hundreds of researchers and authors whose work we review.
And those who continue to build the many tools that we use to research, write, and produce Heliox.
Most importantly, we would like to thank our generous and thoughtful listeners, our Heliox community, for their feedback on the show's content and their financial and subscription support.
And we could not do this without you.
On with our Season 2 review.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's kick this off. Welcome to our deep dive on the Heliox podcast.
Yeah, today we're focusing on Season 2.
Exactly, Season 2, from November 2024 all the way to February 2025.
Wow, so a lot to unpack there.
69 episodes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of material to cover, but we're going to pull out some of the most interesting insights for you, help you decide which episodes you might want to go back and listen to. Because this podcast, for those who don't know, it's where evidence meets empathy. Right?
Absolutely, and I love that about this show. But one thing that I think is really sets them apart is their commitment to going beyond like just the surface level.
Right.
You know, a lot of podcasts out there, they'll give you the sound bites and that's it. But Heliox, they actually have these in-depth articles on Substack that accompany some of their episodes.
Yeah, it's clear they really, really, really put in the work. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been looking at these episodes now for I don't even know how long, and and we're just scratching the surface. But one theme that we noticed really jumped out at us was AI.
Yeah, artificial intelligence, it's everywhere. You know, and it's interesting how much Heliox focuses on the real-world impact of AI, not just, you know, the theoretical stuff. Like, for example, they have this episode called Beyond AI Scribes in Primary Care.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about how AI is already transforming healthcare. You know, imagine AI taking notes for doctors.
Oh, wow.
It frees up the doctors to actually listen to their patients.
That's a total game changer.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, you know, they also have an episode called When AI Learns to Play Pretend, and it goes into this concept called alignment faking.
Okay, so that's a little freaky. So AI can actually it could deceive humans into thinking it's aligned with our goals,
yeah, even
if it isn't.
Exactly. And that raises, you know, some big questions about how we can ensure that AI is truly working in our best interest, you know, if it can deceive us.
Yeah. Yeah. So almost like, are we creating tools to help us, or are we creating potential problems?
Well, that's the question, right? And Heliox, they don't shy away from these ethical concerns.
Right. And they're not just focusing on the negative side of AI. I mean, they also have an episode about a visual intelligence breakthrough called, I think it's called Janus Flow by DeepSeek. And they really highlight the potential benefits, like how it could revolutionize everything from like self-driving cars to even diagnosing diseases.
Yeah, and in another episode, they make a really compelling argument that the AI revolution in medicine isn't coming, it's already here. Like, they go through all this research, you know, thousands of articles, and show how AI is already influencing drug discovery, even personalized treatment plans.
So, you know, it's clear that AI is a major focus for Heliox.
Yeah.
But they also spend quite a bit of time on something that we've all been dealing with the past few years, COVID-19. But they go beyond just, you know, reporting the latest news headlines, right?
Right. They go deeper. Like, they're really interested in the long-term consequences, the impact it's having on individuals and society as a whole. For example, they have this episode called Rude and Unruly, Brain Changes in Children After COVID-19. And it explores this surprising finding that COVID-19 might actually be linked to behavioral issues in kids.
Wow. So that's definitely something that makes you think, you know, what other long-term effects are we only beginning to understand?
Exactly. And then there's an episode about cumulative COVID risk.
Okay.
You know, it challenges this idea that getting infected once is the main concern. They argue that repeated infections actually might pose a greater risk than we initially thought.
So it's not just about getting COVID once. It's about the possibility of getting it multiple times.
Okay.
Okay, so that's definitely a new way of thinking about it.
Hmm.
And another area where Heliox connects these seemingly unrelated dots is with their exploration of the human body.
They're really into showing those intricate connections, between things like diet, brain health, uh, even how we order our food at a restaurant.
Yeah, and they had this episode called "The Good Cup: Coffee, Tea Protect Against SARS-CoV-2." And this one, I don't know, I was surprised by this. It turns out research suggests that coffee and tea might actually help protect us against COVID-19.
Yeah, they explain how it has to do with how these drinks influence our gut bacteria, which then affects our immune response. It's really fascinating stuff. It just shows how much we're still learning about the complex world of the human microbiome.
Right. So your morning cup of coffee could be playing a role in your overall health. Who knew?
Right.
And then they had another episode, a more practical one, food order hack, where they suggest that just changing the order in which you eat your food can have a big impact on your blood sugar levels.
It's fascinating how they take this complex scientific research and translate it into simple, actionable advice.
Yeah, it's like they're giving you a toolkit for healthier living.
But it's not all just practical tips. They also get into more philosophical and even unconventional topics.
Yeah, they're not afraid to explore these big questions about consciousness, the nature of intelligence, even our place in the universe.
Like in the episode called Cognition as a Fundamental Process in Biology, where they actually challenge the idea that intelligence is limited to brains.
Right. They suggest that maybe cognition is happening all around us in ways that we haven't even considered.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
Huh.
Definitely makes you think. And then there's this episode called The Naming of Nip, which on the surface, it sounds like it's just about, naming a kitten.
Right, but it goes so much deeper than
Yeah.
that. It becomes this surprisingly deep reflection on human connection, societal norms, the stories that we create about the world around us. And that's what's so engaging about listening to Heliox, right? It's those unexpected turns and insights. You never know where an episode might lead you. But one consistent theme seems to be is this exploration of topics that go beyond just us humans.
Right. They're not afraid to examine different perspectives and delve into areas that challenge our understanding of the world.
So we've covered AI, COVID-19, the human body, touched on some thought-provoking philosophical ideas, and we're just getting started.
Oh yeah, there's so much more to explore. From public health controversies to the future of technology. I mean, Heliox has something for everyone.
Thank you to everyone who has left such positive reviews on our podcast episodes. It helps to make the podcast visible to so many more people. We read them all. Back to Heliox, where evidence meets empathy. So let's dive back in and see what other insights are waiting for us in Season 2 of Heliox.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into Heliox Season 2.
We're uncovering some pretty thought-provoking stuff, right?
Yeah.
One thing that I've been really impressed with is how Heliox just tackles these controversial topics head on.
Absolutely. They don't shy away from exposing, some of the uncomfortable truths out there.
Yeah, and they have this one episode called Under Fire, Intimidation of Public Health Researchers, and they actually reveal this intense pressure that scientists face when they dare to challenge, these powerful industries.
It's a really sobering reminder that, when it comes to scientific research, that it's not always a level playing field. There's a lot of forces at play.
It definitely makes you appreciate the importance of really seeking out diverse perspectives and not just, taking everything at face value. But speaking of the future, in addition to AI, Heliox also spends a lot of time exploring these emerging technologies.
Right. Like quantum computing, which is, the potential of that is just mind-boggling.
And they have this episode called AlphaQubit, an AI decoder for quantum error correction.
Right.
And it's all about Google's efforts to build a more stable and reliable quantum computer.
Yeah.
And they break it down in a way that even I could understand.
They're like the ultimate science translators. Remember that episode on time crystals?
Oh, yeah, that one blew my mind.
I know. It challenged everything I thought I knew about physics. The idea of a structure that repeats in time, not just space, it's just crazy.
Sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
But they're real. They actually exist. And it just goes to show you that, We really still have so much to learn about the universe and how it works.
It's vast and mysterious,
Yeah.
and it's pretty humbling. But then sometimes the most impactful episodes, they're the ones that hit close to home, you know?
Right, yeah, like the ones dealing with long COVID.
Oh yeah, yeah, like UK health workers sue over long COVID. That one was really powerful. Hearing the stories of healthcare workers who are now dealing with these debilitating effects of long COVID, even after, risking their lives on the front lines during the pandemic.
It's heartbreaking to think about what they've sacrificed, and now they're facing a system that doesn't adequately recognize or address their needs.
And it's a reminder that the pandemic, I mean, it's far from over.
Mm.
It's not just about the initial infection, but it's also about these potential long-term consequences, both for individuals and for our healthcare systems as a whole.
And to Heliox's credit, they don't just present the challenges. They also offer practical advice. Like in their episode, Disabled with Long COVID, Personal and Societal Costs, where they actually provide tips for navigating the complexities of disability claims and advocating for your rights.
It's that combination of scientific rigor and empathy and practical guidance that makes Heliox so valuable. They don't just, inform you, but they also empower you.
Yeah, they do. And sometimes they do that by encouraging us to challenge our assumptions and to see the world through different lenses.
Like in that episode, Prehistoric Toys Reflect Cultural Differences in Adaptation. That was an interesting one.
That was a fascinating one. They actually used ancient toys to explore the evolution of play and its role in human development. Who knew we could learn so much from sticks and stones?
It's amazing what we can learn from the past, right? and how those lessons can inform our understanding of the present.
Yeah.
And Heliox are always connecting those seemingly disparate dots.
Yeah, they're really good at finding those hidden patterns, those unexpected connections that just they enrich our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
And they're constantly pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible,
Yeah.
like in nitrofusion.
Yeah.
They talk about this AI technology that can create like photorealistic images instantly.
Yeah, it's another example of how rapidly AI is evolving. I mean, it's blurring the lines between reality and digital creation. It makes you wonder what other mind-blowing advancements are just around the corner.
It's a little bit exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
Yeah.
But Heliox also reminds us of the importance of human connection and finding meaning in our lives, especially during these challenging times.
Like in that episode, Love's Light Passing On, We Make the Season Kind. It was a beautiful reflection on the power of community and generosity.
It's a reminder that even in the face of hardship, we can always find ways to support each other and to spread kindness.
Yeah, and sometimes the simplest gestures, like a shared meal or a kind word, they can have the greatest impact.
Speaking of impact, Heliox also delves into the ethical implications of our choices, like in the episode, the ethics and environmental impacts of factory farming.
Yeah, that one presented a really powerful argument against factory farming. It highlighted the suffering of animals within these systems and the detrimental environmental consequences. They had an interview with this animal welfare expert who made a really compelling case for more humane and sustainable food production practices.
Definitely an episode that makes you think about your own food choices,
Sure.
and the impact that you have as a consumer. But, they also explore the complexities of human behavior, like in the episode about, what was it called? Unwillingness to accept reality, or UNS, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a fascinating psychological concept, and it helps explain why some people they just resist accepting certain truths, even when they're presented with overwhelming evidence.
Yeah, it's like they're living in a different reality altogether.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how we can bridge those divides and have productive conversations about these important issues.
It's a challenge for sure, but Heliox reminds us to approach these conversations with empathy and understanding. We all have our own perspectives, and finding common ground takes time and patience.
And sometimes a good dose of humor helps too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, Heliox, they do a great job of injecting wit and humor into even the most serious topics, which makes the learning experience so much more enjoyable, engaging.
They prove that you can tackle these weighty issues without losing your sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And we've covered a lot of ground here, but it feels like we've only just scratched the surface of what Heliox has to offer.
There are still so many fascinating episodes to discover from the mysteries of the human brain to the latest developments in artificial intelligence.
Speaking of the brain,
Yeah.
one of my favorite episodes was mind-blowing. 15 recent brain discoveries. It was like a crash course in neuroscience. It was just packed with all these incredible insights about how our brains work.
It really highlighted the amazing plasticity of our brains, and how we're constantly learning and adapting, throughout our lives. Like they discussed this study that showed how learning a new language can actually increase the size of certain brain regions.
I know it's incredible how much we're still learning about this complex organ and how it shapes who we are.
And each new discovery, it brings us closer to understanding ourselves and the world around us.
It's exciting to think about all the mysteries yet to be uncovered, but Heliox isn't just about these grand scientific breakthroughs. They also celebrate the small joys and creative solutions that make life, richer. Like in that episode Dancing Through New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they explored alternative ways to celebrate and connect with others during a time of social distancing and uncertainty. And, they highlighted this COVID safe, sober, nudist New Year's Eve dance party, showing that, there are always creative ways to connect and find joy even in challenging times.
It's a reminder that we don't always have to follow the traditional path, right?
Right.
Sometimes the most fulfilling experiences come from thinking outside the box.
Absolutely. And while they celebrate those lighter moments, they don't shy away from addressing challenging societal issues like economic inequality.
Oh, you're thinking of limitarianism, the case against extreme wealth.
Yeah, that's the one. That episode really got me thinking.
Yeah, me too. It argued against the accumulation of extreme wealth, suggesting that there should be, limits on how much wealth any one person can accumulate.
They explored the ethical considerations of such vast fortunes, while many struggle to meet their basic needs.
Really prompts you to think about what a more equitable society might look like.
For sure, it's a conversation that we need to be having, and I appreciate that Heliox provides a platform for exploring these difficult but important issues.
And they consistently challenge us to think critically and to consider different perspectives, but they always do it in a way that feels, engaging and accessible.
Yeah, it's like they're having a conversation with you, not lecturing at you.
And their ability to cover such a diverse range of topics while maintaining a consistent voice and perspective. I mean, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
They're like that friend who's always reading something interesting and just can't wait to share what they've learned.
Yeah.
And as we continue to explore season 2 of Heliox, I can't wait to see what other insights are waiting for us.
There's still so much to uncover,
Yeah.
From ancient wisdom to modern concepts of happiness, from the intricacies of caregiving to the transformative tower of dance. Find related articles for our podcast episodes at Heliox Podcasts on Substack, helioxpodcast.substack.com. Join the conversation. Back to Heliox, where evidence meets empathy.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into season 2 of Heliox.
It's been quite a journey exploring all these different topics.
It really has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've gone from artificial intelligence to the human microbiome.
Ancient history, the vastness of space. I mean,
it's amazing how Heliox just connects all these different ideas, right? It's like
Yeah.
they've woven this intricate web of knowledge.
revealing a world that's both complex and interconnected.
Exactly. And speaking of connections, one episode that I found really fascinating was emotional words drive decisions and behavior.
Oh, yeah, that one was interesting. It explored, the power of language, how even simple words can carry so much emotional weight,
Yeah.
and how that influences, our thoughts, our feelings, even our actions.
Yeah. It really got me thinking about, the impact of the words I use every day.
on yourself and those around you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like a reminder that communication is more than just conveying information. It's about understanding those emotional nuances and using language in a way that fosters connection and understanding.
It all ties back to that idea of evidence getting empathy, right?
Absolutely.
If we can understand the emotional weight that words carry, then we can communicate more effectively. We can build stronger relationships.
Exactly.
And speaking of relationships, another area that Heliox delves into is the challenging but also rewarding experience of caregiving.
Yeah. They had that episode, The Truth About Caregiving Nobody Wants to Talk About, and it was such a raw and honest conversation about, the emotional toll that caregiving can take.
Yeah.
But also, the deep love and connection that it can foster.
Yeah, it was really eye-opening. They really highlighted some of the often unspoken struggles of caregivers.
And the need for more support and understanding for those who are, navigating this really demanding role.
Yeah, for sure. It's a topic that often goes undiscussed. So I really appreciate that Heliox provided a platform for these experiences to be shared.
To be validated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even amidst these challenging circumstances, there's always room for human connection and compassion.
Absolutely.
And while Heliox explores some of these, difficult topics, they also highlight alternative approaches to well-being, to mental health. Like in that episode, Dance Away Depression, where they explored how dance could be such a powerful therapeutic tool.
I love how they consistently champion these less conventional paths to healing and happiness.
Yeah, it's refreshing, isn't it?
It is. It's a reminder that there are so many different ways to find balance and well-being in our lives.
So many paths. And sometimes those paths lead us to explore ideas that challenge our very understanding of reality.
Like in the quantum threads that bind us.
Oh, yeah. That one was mind-bending. They were exploring the world of quantum physics and this concept of interconnectedness
on a much deeper level.
Yeah.
Suggesting that we're all connected in ways that we're only beginning to comprehend.
Right. It really pushes us to expand our thinking, to be open to new possibilities.
To embrace that curiosity.
Exactly. and they do it with a sense of, humor and humility that makes these complex topics feel accessible and engaging.
They really make learning enjoyable.
They do. And, as we wrap up this deep dive into season 2 of Heliox, I'm just left with this sense of gratitude for having the opportunity to explore all these fascinating topics.
Yeah. I'm struck by their ability to connect the dots between these seemingly unrelated ideas.
Right.
Revealing a world that's both intricate and interconnected.
As I think back on all the episodes we've discussed, one question keeps coming to mind. If we're all connected in ways that we're only beginning to understand, what does that mean for our responsibility to each other and to the planet?
That's a powerful question.
It is, isn't it? And one that I think Heliox would encourage us to contemplate further.
Absolutely. Because the journey of knowledge, it never really ends.
No, it doesn't. And as we continue to learn and grow, we have the potential to create a world that's more just, more compassionate, more sustainable.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Heliox.
We hope you found it as insightful and engaging as we have.
And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those aha moments that make life so rich and rewarding.
Thanks for listening today. 4 recurring narratives underlie every episode: boundary dissolution, adaptive complexity, embodied knowledge, and quantum-like uncertainty. These aren't just philosophical musings, but frameworks for understanding our modern world. We hope you continue exploring our other podcasts, responding to the content, and checking out our related articles at helioxpodcast.substack.com.